What's up, everyone? This is Keng El Bey. I'm gonna start doing a series of videos on how Moors should deal with court. This can be for Moors and non-Moors. But I seen just a lot of videos that didn't express intricate information. I got 12 years of experience of dealing with the court and litigating. So you're talking about a person who's seasoned at dealing with the court. But before I get started, let me shout out my disclaimer. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is not to be considered legal advice. If you're seeking yourself legal advice, please seek counsel, legal counsel. So let's move on. So let me talk about this because I think there's a lot of gray areas with this information when I'm talking to the Moors about public and private, and I think a lot of people don't really understand this to its entirety because they can't appropriate this information. So let's determine what's public and private. And I want to give shouts out to Yusuf L because I know a lot of people want to use other people's work, but I just want to show the demographic of public and private in the sense of how this works. When you studied a lot of case law and you understand how to deal with the courts and you being boots on the ground, a lot of things start becoming apparent to you and you start learning how to win your case. So I want you to understand, if you start arguing these things, you argue constitutional law, criminal law, administrative law, and international law. You know, if you start arguing the Constitution, you jumped over from this side to this side, to the public side. Now, if you arguing treaty, you jump from this side to this side, because United States, when we're talking about the treaty, is that a public or a private treaty? You got such things as private treaties. So when you start talking about public international law, because there's a such thing as private international law, and there's a such thing as private treaties, there's a such thing as public treaties. You have to understand that. So if you're arguing treaty, you over here. So you got to know what you're doing when you're making these arguments. Your job is to try to stay over here. Or you contract, so that you can then file a tort claim on your property right, understanding your status as the creditor or the benefactor in which you are entitled to get relief or get remedy. So you got to understand that. And I think a lot of Moors need to understand that in its entirety, because a lot of us don't understand this information, so they get caught up. They don't know how to navigate through this. And today I'm going to drop some jewels to give you some information on how to get through this. That's why I'm trying to advise people to come over and contact us at MUS. Go to our Facebook page, Moors Universal Society of Tribe. Look us up. I'll be giving you information at the end of this video. And you're listening to Keng El Bey. I'm the guy that normally do child support, but I'm going to jump in the arena. I do everything, and we're going to break this down. So let's jump over here to the rules of civil procedure, and we're going to jump all the way up to this rule right here. I'm not going to go over everything in the civil rules, but I want to break this down. So, when you're talking about forms of actions, they let you know there is only one form of action, and it's known as the civil action. So, even when they bring you into a administrative court, even when they bring you into a court, they're trying to adjudicate you on a criminal law, it's still a civil action because there's only one form of action, and you got to understand that. The civil rules is even applicable to the criminal rules. And let me show you that real quick. It says under Rule 57, rules of court, procedure not otherwise specified. Rules of the court. The expression rule of the court used in these rules mean a rule promulgated by the Supreme Court or a rule concerning local practice adopted by another court that is inconsistent with the rules promulgated by the Supreme Court and filed with the Supreme Court. So I just want to get you to understand. And it says, come down, procedures not otherwise specified. If no procedure is specifically prescribed by the rule, the court may proceed in any lawful manner. I want you to get that. If no procedure is specifically prescribed by rule, the court may proceed in any lawful manner not inconsistent with these rules of criminal procedure, and shall look at the rules of civil procedure and to the applicable law if no rule of criminal procedure exists. Right here. So just to let you know, I'm just bringing that into play to let you know under Rule 57 that, and this is all in the federal rules too. The civil rules of our states tend to mirror the federal rules. They might have a little more in it, but just to let you know, these rules are in there too. So let's go down to Rule 44. Let's go down to Rule 44. 1. I don't know why I do that sometimes. Rule 44.1. Now here we go. Judicial notice of certain law, determination of foreign law. So if you got to remember, if you've been following me, foreign also mean private. When you're talking about something that's not prescribed by somebody or something prescribed by you under a private jurisdiction, it's foreign to the United States. So I know y'all heard that the United States is only 10 square miles and all of that. But I just want you to understand these rules, because these rules are the instructions on how things play out in the court. We're not talking about statutes. Statutes have nothing to do with these rules. These rules going to supersede the statutes because these would regulate the court. So when looking at these rules, I want you to understand it says to take judicial note of certain law, determination of foreign law, or determination, you can substitute private law. And then let's go to 1. Judicial notice shall be taken of the rules of the Supreme Court of this state and of the decisional, constitutional, and public statutory law of this state. So I want y'all to look at that. So look at these rules and start understanding how these rules work. So just want you to look at this. So now let's go over determination of foreign law. A party who intends to rely on law of a foreign country shall give notice in his pleadings or other reasonable notice. You feel me? So I want people to understand that when dealing with the court, I need you to understand what's going on with that, so that you can get the best out of that when you're dealing with this court. Sorry about that. So when they talk about foreign country, I want you to understand, don't get it confused, because you can utilize these rules, and you can go over these rules. I'm not going to go over everything. I just want you to look at A and B and go over these rules, because I don't want the video to be too long. But this is how you should be coming in. You should be giving the court judicial notice, verifying your credentials, and letting the court determine your status of the foreign law in which you're going to be used in your case. I want everyone to understand that. Look at this judicial notice of determination of foreign law or private law. Now, all this other stuff can be applicable under these rules. You just got to make sure you understand what you're doing. So we're going to go here. Now, we're going to look at the rules of evidence, because everything is going to boil down to evidence. If you're trying to save face and you're trying to make sure that on plain error, if you try, because what Moors have to do, they have to understand how to use writs. So if the judge start doing something, you got to stop him from doing something. You got to either use a writ of mandamus or a writ of prohibition together to either make the court do something or the court not do something when dealing with property rights, because everything is dealing with property, real or personal property. If anybody been following me, you will understand. I always talk about a trust is nothing but a form of asset protection of real and personal property. So as I get into this, let's talk about judicial notice. Well, we're gonna get into this. So I'm not gonna go over everything in this, but I just want to hit you with this. It says a judicial notice of adjudicative facts. Now, what is an adjudicative fact? An adjudicative fact is a fact known within the territory or known by all parties. So once you file something, that's how the UCCs come into play. And a lot of y'all don't understand this because y'all not litigators. This is how UCCs come into play. So I'm giving you the scopatory and the rules on how people file the UCCs. But also the UCCs is not necessary. If you do regular course of business and you have contracts that exist, these are things that can be an adjudicated fact that can be presented as evidence and could show the jurisdiction that you're under, in which the state may not have the right to adjudicate that case because they don't have jurisdiction, because they don't have personal jurisdiction over you. So I just want to let you know. So just explaining, it says judicial notice, a judicially noticed fact must be one not subject to reasonable dispute, and that is either generally known within the territorial jurisdiction of the trial court, or capable of accurate and ready determination by resorts to sources whose accuracy cannot reasonably be questioned. So at Must, we got a system in which we use. So you get your credentials, and your credentials through our process will be validated, that can now be submitted into the court as evidence. I'm not going to go over everything on the rules of evidence. I'm just going to hit y'all with pertinent information. And they have to give you, when you do a judicial notice, they have to give you an opportunity to be heard. They have to. They have to. A party is entitled upon timely request to an opportunity to be heard. Let's go down here. F. Time of taking judicial notice. Judicial notice may be taken at any stage of the proceedings. Just letting you know that once you do this, you gotta learn, you gotta know how to navigate the courts. So if you using writs and you understand this process and you following these rules and these instructions, now if the court do something out of the ordinary, you can preserve your right for plain error, where they're not giving you due process of law. They're not adhering to the rules, and they're making their self party to a claim in which now if they disrupt anything or injure you in any kind of way, you have a claim against them. So you got to understand that. So let's just move on. Let's just move on. Let's go down to, let me see. Let's go down to this relevant evidence. Because I'm gonna say this before, everything is when you understand that everything boils down to evidence, all relevant evidence is admissible except as otherwise provided by the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Ohio, or by statute of the General Assembly, not in conflict with the rules of the Supreme Court. Evidence is not relevant, is not admissible. Just going through this, I'm just showing you that everything is relevant. Everything boils down to the rules of evidence. And let's go into, let me see. We went over judicial notice. Let's go into self-identification a little bit. Intrinsic evidence of authenticity as a condition precedent to admissibility is not required with the respect of the following. You go down here, you can go through this, and I'm just breaking this down for you so you can see this evidence under law. Acknowledged documents. Documents are occupied by a certification, a certificate of acknowledgement executed in the manner provided by a notary public or other officers authorized by law to take acknowledgement. You can look at this. I'm just going to you foreign documents. I'm going to here, acknowledgement of documents. How to present evidence, to self-authenticate evidence. This is what we do at MUST. Like, you ain't gonna, this is what I'm saying. Like, I know how to navigate through the process. I understand how to navigate and create your writ of complaint, showing a contract, showing that there is a breach or there is an injury that has your tort claim. It don't have to be under a statutory regulation. It's a tort. It's through contract. And you got to understand that. And I'll break that down on another video. But just let me go through this one. So, I don't want to make these videos long. So let's look at credentials. A document or otherwise evidence that proves one's authority or expertise. A testimonial that a person is entitled to credit or the right to exercise official power. So when you get your credentials, these are documents or other evidence that prove one's authority or expertise. Your credentials. It proves your identity. So let's move forward. Let me see. Let's talk about due process of law, because this is very serious when you understand the public and private. Now, due process. It says the conduct of legal proceedings according to established rules and principles for the protection and enforcement of private rights. And then, once again, private rights, including notice and the right to a fair hearing before a tribunal with the power to decide the case. You guys got to understand this, man. I'm dropping some jewels for y'all. Rights, once again, it talks about private rights. Let's move on. Let me go here again. Now let's look at, let's go down here. I want to look at foreign. Now, the Foreign Sovereign Immunity Act. Once again, I'm going to show you something. Foreign Sovereign Immunity Act, a federal statute providing individuals with a right of action against foreign government under certain circumstances to extend a claim arising from private as opposed to public acts of foreign state. Do y'all get that? Do y'all get it?
Please leave a message after the tone.
Do y'all get it? Once again, this come up. This is private. Now, if you're private and you're foreign and the contract that you put is foreign to United States jurisdiction, then this is where you supposed to come under. You got to understand this. So we're talking about private individuals, private rights, private property, foreign to United States jurisdiction, and you got to understand how to put your pleadings together, which is your complaints, and understand how to move the court with understanding what you need to do every step throughout the process to appropriate this information. So let's move on. Let's go here. I want to take you through something. I just want to show you something. You guys something. I want you to see this. I want you to see this. I want you guys to really see this. Foreign. Of relating to another country, foreign affairs, to, of or relating another jurisdiction. So if you're talking about private rights through a private contract that's not under the jurisdiction of the United States or of the state, then you're talking about private rights in which you can utilize and to get a remedy. So remember, private is foreign, and it's a different jurisdiction, under a different jurisdiction. So I'm not going to get into that. They give you an example. It says Arizona court gave full faith and credit to the foreign judgment from Mississippi. See, Mississippi would be foreign to Arizona, even though they're part of the 50 states, but they have their own self-autonomy, meaning they have their own internalized affairs that's different from each other. So they both private from one another. Just to make that clear, I'm gonna keep it pushing. Just trying to drop some jewels and some information. Let me move on. I don't want to get into that. Let me see. Due process. I went over that. Let's go to perfecting a claim. I just want to talk about perfecting a claim. Now, this is how they give you instructions on how to perfect a claim. I could go into that in the statutes, but I'll probably save a lot of this stuff for another time. But I just want to show you how to perfect a claim. It says to take all legal steps needed to complete, secure, or record a claim, a right, or interest. Right there. To provide necessary public notice in final conformity with the laws. Perfecting a security interest, perfect the title. So you got to understand how to perfect a claim. I tell people how you perfect the claim. Notice, lien, and witnesses. And that you adhere to the law when dealing from a public to public entity, that you adhere to the law, in which then you can transfer it over to the private. So you got to understand the three concepts of perfecting a claim through private to privatizing that property and putting it into a different jurisdiction. But if you're removing it from the public, you got to follow the rules regarding how to obtain the property. But you also got to make sure you do the three elements in which it is to perfect the claim. Let's move on, everybody. I'm trying to make this video short. We can get into allodial. Everybody's talking about allodial title. Held in absolute ownership pertaining to allodium. So it just talk about ownership. So if you don't own it, your trust own it, which is an artificial person, and you're just the benefactor of that. And the grantor makes the rules to regulate how the property is being used and how the benefactor receive the benefits. You got to understand this information. I'm just dropping these jewels on everyone so we could go through all of this. Just like you can look at private international law. I just showing you under territorial law, just dropping this information. I think I'll do another show on that. I'm not going to get deep into that. But let's look at state. The political system of a body of people who are politically organized. The system of rules by which a jurisdiction and authority are exercising over such body of people. So if you have a tribe, or you privatize a community, or you privatize your tribe, and it's foreign to the United States jurisdiction, and you form an estate, these people are governed by these rules. And I'll go over my state constitution and start breaking some stuff down from state to federal and how all this stuff go down. But when you come to MUS, we get you the credentials, we get you everything that you need, and we drop this down. We show you how to move. Nobody is showing you how to move through these rules. I've been watching all these videos. Nobody has broke this down and the science of it, because I've actually been into court. This is how I know these rules and regulations, because this is what I do. Let me see if there's anything else I need to go over. I'll do some of this. I want to keep this video short. Okay, let's go over to the MUS website, Facebook. Check us out. Look, I drop all types of information on the Facebook page, on the Moorish Universal Society of Tribes. I drop so much information. I just be dropping. Like, look at this. The All Risk Act is a United States federal act, talking about dropping all types of writs. Like, this is how you can use the writs. This is right here. Come to the site. Check it out. Go through and look. I type in, I post so much information. If you're not a part of the Moorish Universal Society of Tribes, I don't know what you're waiting for, because I drop so much information. I got a Blog Talk Radio. Go to Blog Talk Radio, look up the Keng El Bey Show. I dropped this. I dropped this information so I understand what to do, because I'm a true litigator. I've been in the court. I mean, heavy. Just doing a lot of good work. So for those who want to contact us, call us at 513-549-7270. This is the number right here. I'm going to make the screen a little bigger so everyone can, if you can't see the number, that you can see the number. Is right here, 513-549-7270. Give us a call. This is Keng El Bey. I'm dropping this information off on this video. Go to the Moorish Universal Society of Tribes. Look us up on Facebook. We also have a court, a family court, and we also have another website where you can read and look at what we're doing on this movement. So for those who want to sign up and join us, get in contact with me on Facebook. Look me up on Moorish Universal Society of Tribes. I'll be glad to drop this information, share what we're about, also show you what we're doing and how we set up a system, because we got a system. We don't just got anything going or not organized. We have a system. It's a checks and balance in place, you know. So I'm just dropping this information for y'all who really need some, not just legal help, but need help understanding what to do, how to asset protect, understand what a trust is supposed to do through trust management, understanding how to perfect the claim and win your case, understanding what you need to do, how you need to go about bonds, credit. We do it all. We do bonds, credits. We do it all. We do everything on the perfection side of perfecting claims and utilizing from the UCCs all the way down to contracts and how to set yourself up on how to win. I'll be going over doing another short video on certain stuff. I'm going to try to make these videos a little more short, but this is more of an introduction video. So this is Keng El Bey. I'm out. Like I said before, you can contact us. Where's the number? Where's the number at? You can give us a call at 513-549-7270. Drop down in the inbox. Let us know what's happening. Put us down in the inbox. Hit me up in Messenger. You need help, call. I'm your guy. Child support, any type of thing that you need legal. I can show you how to navigate through the process. And let's keep it pushing. This is Keng El Bey, and I'm out. Peace.